All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. All right, we're gonna do this thing real fast. I'm in the hallway of a hotel, hallway in between two rooms. But anyway, so Sean O'Malley had some things to say about the Chito Vera fight, and more important, well, maybe not more important, but I've heard what a lot of people are saying about his words, and I think people are missing the point. Although, we just don't really know yet. But here's the deal. I'm gonna just give you the lay of the land of what he said, why it matters, and what I think about it, okay? And what I think about what other people are saying. So basically, it's as simple as this, right? So Sean O'Malley said that Chito Vera got lucky. I mean, for all intents and purposes. Like, he gave him credit that, you know, they entered the octagon, someone walks out, one guy won, the other guy lost. I mean, it's simple as that. But he directly said that Chito Vera got lucky, and he said that he doesn't think of Chito Vera as a good fighter, and that's what bothers him, is that he lost to a guy that he doesn't think is very good, okay? So there are two ways of reading that, right? And what everybody needs to just chill on is, not even chill, just take into account the fight game, right? Like, there's the fight business, the fight game, and then there are the actual fights and the preparation and all of that stuff. And people just assume that all of these things are connected, and that what someone shows in the fight game equates to how he's preparing for fights, and that's just nonsense. Like, it's just not reality, okay? Now, I'm not saying that in all cases, what a person says publicly is not connected to how they prepare and all that, but in many cases, it's not. And with the people who are actually really exceptional at the fight game, it almost never is. I mean, it just almost never is. So here are the things to keep in mind, right? So Sean O'Malley's never lost. He's 25 years old, right? The way that he lost was kind of fluky, right? Like, I mean, it's a completely legit loss and a completely legit win for Chito Vera. He kicked him, calf kick. He caught him in the nerve. Sean O'Malley's leg did not recover. He was fighting on one leg, and then he gets taken down. He gets smashed out. I mean, it's like, he lost. But think about how many guys who have weighed in on this particular issue have just directly said, they're like, yeah, it's never happened to me, okay? Like, yeah, that's never happened to me. Do you understand how many times guys have thrown calf kicks at any professional fighter? Like, without exception, okay? Any professional fighter is sparring constantly, and you're getting leg kicks thrown at you constantly, okay? That nerve right there, like, if you get hit right on it, the force with which you get hit on it is not going to dictate, like it's not like you need someone to go 100% to hit that nerve and then have it affect them, right? Like, that's a placement thing. And you're talking about probably hitting something that's like, you know, this big. Like, when these guys have said, it's never happened to me, I don't care what you say, dude, that is a fluky thing, you know? Like, and the reason why I call it fluky is because no one's going to intentionally try to kick a dude in the perennial nerve. Like, no one's gonna be like, oh yeah, that was a perennial nerve shot. Like, Chito Vera knew what it was, but he knows what it was because he's a student of the game and he's seen it happen before. And you know how many examples he had? Like, two, right? Two. Henry Cejudo it happened to, and Michael Chandler it happened to, right? Like, there's two. So it's not something that happens commonly. So it is fluky, plain and simple. But as it relates to Sean O'Malley, okay, him saying that it's lucky is smart. That's exactly what he should say, right? In the fight game, right? In the fight game, because like, wins and losses are it's not just like a one-to-one, like, oh, there's wins and then there's losses. You know what I'm saying? Like guys, like, as an example, like Rosenstreich, right? He lost to Francis Ngannou. He got knocked out, right? Got his head blown off, and then was completely unconscious in 15, 20 seconds or whatever. Do you think that that's the same thing as a loss like Francis Ngannou had to Derek Lewis, where the two guys just kind of circle around each other and don't throw any punches? You think that those losses have equal weight when people are assessing the fighter? Because again, now we're talking about the fight game. And the fight game is about the public's perception of a fighter, equating to how interested they are when they fight and how likely they are to pay for a pay-per-view that they are featured on, okay? So the more that Sean O'Malley can minimize the loss, the more credibility he has publicly that he can then cash in on when he's selling pay-per-views, okay? And the bottom line is, him being a prick about this is the correct play in the fight game. Just plain and simple, just the correct play. And people are like, it's just so stupid for him to say that. He's like, he's not gonna grow as a fighter, you know? Like, he really should be focusing on growing as a fighter. You're like, okay, you know, that's a cute thing to say if you're in high school wrestling, okay? This is the big boys. Like, this is the big leagues. Where I mean, unless you're the one person who is pretending like this is not a profession, where maximizing pay-per-views is not your goal, because it is for everyone, right? Like, building your legacy, building building who you are now for money, building what your legacy is when you're done. It's all about public perception. You think that it'd be better off if he was like, listen, man, he's like, I really underestimated Chito. I thought I was better than I was. He kicked me right on the perennial nerve. And now, I realize I'm really not that good. Like, I've got a lot of growing to do. Really got a lot of growing to do. Or do you think it's better for him to be like, he got lucky, I'll smoke him if we fight again? I mean, come on, man. This is not rocket science, okay? It's the fight game. So, if you hear anybody disagreeing with that, like in terms of people talking about it on YouTube, and they're saying that like this is a demonstration of like a lack of character on Sean O'Malley's case, I mean, it might be, if he really believes that it's just completely lucky, there's nothing he needs to work on, whatever, then maybe. But how would you know? And why would you assume that that's what's going on when, if it's not what's going on, he is literally playing the situation correctly? So anyway, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Peace.